Welcome to Celestial Dew, a space where we explore our inner world, where storytelling and spiritual tools deepen our connection to ourselves and the universe. My name is Rocio Celeste, and this is my soulmate and constant companion, Nuga Cosmico. We are here to share our experiences and open a space for insight and transformation. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's begin this journey inward. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about something really important: family constellations. Family constellations is a therapeutic and spiritual approach developed by German therapist Bert Hellinger after the Second World War. And family constellations is a technique based on a simple but deep truth. We don't just inherit eye color and our hair and our skin color and all our genetics. We also inherit traumas, guilt, silence, and grief from our ancestors. Say this is you, right here. Here are your parents. This is your sibling right here. You want to go down? You want to go down? Okay, you can come down. Go down. Here are your parents. You, your sibling, your parents. Your grandparents. We are part of a living, breathing system, like a big, energetic family tree. If something traumatic happened in your family's past, like war, secrets, a death, it can echo forward. Affecting you today. But how? Why would it affect me today? Well, it's because memories, pain, suffering, they travel through generations. Family constellations helps us bring what is hidden into the light, to release entanglements and allow love to flow freely again. There are 3 laws in family constellations, 3 principles. The first one is belonging. Everyone in the family tree belongs. Everyone has a place. No one should be excluded. The second one talks about order. We have to have order. Everyone has to have their place. You cannot be in your mother's place or in your father's place. You have to be in your own place, in your own spot, in your clan. The third one talks about balance, keeping the balance. When it comes to belonging, as I said, everyone has a right to belong. What happens when someone gets excluded? And what does that mean? What does it mean to exclude someone? Say, for example, in your family history, there was an alcoholic great grandpa that everybody rejected because he spent all the family money. So they stopped talking about him. They said he doesn't belong. Or say there was a prostitute in the family. They said no. She gets rejected because she brings shame to the family. So we no longer talk about her. It can also be someone that just used to say bad words, or someone that was a troublemaker. If that family member was excluded, if that ancestor was excluded, he or she will try to be seen generations later. And someone down the line will try to repeat the story. Why am I repeating the story? Because this ancestor is trying to be seen. I'm trying to see my great-grandma or my great-grandpa from generations earlier. So whether through shame, secrecy, or pain, it creates a hole. Exclusion creates a hole. And that missing piece often pulls a later family member into their fate. Unconsciously, they repeat their fate and not knowing why. Say, for example, 7 generations back, this ancestor was born out of wedlock, and he was sent away to a monastery or an orphanage. He gets rejected by all the family members, so he's a child born out of wedlock. Doesn't belong. No one looks at him. He's excluded. This ancestor is never spoken of again. He belonged, but he was excluded. Now, generations later, say this one, generations later, this family member, say your cousin or your brother, is struggling with depression or is struggling with a deep sense of not belonging. Why is that? We don't know. He has no reason to feel depressed. Everything seems to be going well. He had a happy childhood, has a very supportive family. What is going on? Why is he so sad, so depressed? Like he feels like he doesn't belong. Why? It turns out that he is unconsciously repeating the fate of that family member because he is seeing that family member from the past, from 7 generations back. So as soon as we acknowledge the excluded ancestor, maybe just with a sentence like, you are one of us, a healing sentence, telling him, you are one of us, you belong, you have a place in our family. And I give you your place. You say to him, say, this is you. You are the person doing the work, the family constellation. And so you say to your ancestor, I give you your place, you belong. I see you. You are one of us. I see you now. A shift happens and the energy starts to relax. He's no longer going to be struggling to be seen. The energy will relax. The other principle in family constellations is order. Everyone has to be in the right place, in their order. So parents come before children, not the other way around. And older siblings come before younger siblings. Very often we see that the order is reversed. Every person has a place based on timing, on who was born before. Parents come before children. older siblings come before younger siblings. And when order is reversed, pain arises. We cannot be bigger than our parents because they came first. If we try to take a place that doesn't belong to us, we are out of order, and this is where pain arises. This is the importance of family constellations, so that energetically we can take our place back. We can go back to our rightful place in our right order. We can tell our older sibling, okay, you are the firstborn. And I come later. There is order. Say, for example, a parenting child. What is a parenting child? Someone that had to take care of their younger siblings as a kid. Say this grandmother, whose mom died when she was very little, when she was still a child. So this grandma loses her mom, so your great grandma passes away. And this grandma has to take care of her younger siblings. So she energetically is taking a place as if she was bigger than her own mom. She's no longer in her rightful place. She's here energetically. She had to grow up fast and become the caretaker of her siblings. She carried strength, but also sorrow. Two generations later, her great-granddaughter is now doing the same, becoming a mother to her own mother. Saying this is her mother. Becoming a mother to her own mother. Always taking care of her, burning out, always taking care of others. Being her mom's mom. Why? She's repeating a pattern. It's a loyalty. So when we look at that ancestor, and we tell her, you are the big one. I am the little one. You are the big one. I am the little one. When we look at that ancestor, say it's you. Say you come to a session to see, why am I feeling like I always give, or there's something lacking, or there's something, I don't know what's wrong. And then it turns out that you are repeating a pattern of having to take care of someone, and it's not your duty. So we look at that ancestor and we tell her, you are the big one. I am the little one. I give back to you what is yours. Say this as an ancestor is saying that to her mom. Then we put that ancestor in her right place. She, her place of daughter, and we put her mom in her rightful place. So when we put the great grandmother back in her rightful spot and allow her to look at her own daughter and her own kids, we put her in her place, the same line with her siblings. We restore flow. And now here, the present day, in the present moment, you or whoever is doing the session no longer has to repeat that, because we have restored flow. You say, I give back to you what is yours. You are the big one, I am the little one, I give back to you what is yours. And then you, instead of looking back to the past, you can turn around and look back to the future and create your own destiny. This is why it's so important. I have done so many family constellations in the past few years. I remember when I first started doing them, when I first discovered them, I did them with people. Always in all the different retreats that I attended, I did them with people, and people had to represent mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, siblings. There were times when we even worked with the energy of the inner child, or the energy of the guardian angel, or the energy of our feminine and our masculine. You can do family constellations with all sorts of energies. The energy of your partner, working with your partner. See what moves. It's very interesting to find out how the energy moves. So things that were invisible become visible, become seen. When I first started working with them, I didn't like them. I have to be honest. I admit I hated them. I thought they were really uncomfortable. They were the most uncomfortable thing to do. Having to be touching people and saying things and putting myself in a position where I had to be someone's great grandma, or someone was my mom, and that energy was coming to me. Just different things. It was just so uncomfortable. But now I like them. I learned to appreciate them. Now I do them in water. That's a different thing. I will do a different episode with that. Constellations in water. Now I do them with these figures, with Playmobil, which I think it's really nice, because you get to see and you get to place them. The therapist can guide you, and you will see how much energy gets liberated and gets fixed. I did one by myself in the forest with stones. I got different rocks, and I had to place myself in my right place. I was in my mom's place, because like my parents got divorced when I was 5. So I grew up with my dad and my 2 younger siblings, and my mom, she like left with my older sister. So energetically, I had to fill that spot. I had to fill my mom's spot and my older sister's spot. So basically, I'm one of 4. I'm the second kid. But I grew up being the eldest. So I took care of my younger brother and my younger sister. So energetically, I always behaved like I was the eldest, even though I'm not. I'm like the middle child or the second. Now that I grew up, I always used to say, yeah, I'm the eldest, but I'm not. In reality, I'm the second one. But I grew up being the eldest. And it was very painful to me to feel like there's something missing. I was not in my right place. My right place was to be the second one, and also to be the daughter. I was not my mom, my sibling's mom, or my dad's partner, but energetically, that hole needed to be filled. And this is why it was very hard for me and very intense for me to do this work. It was really annoying. It was really uncomfortable. But it had to be done. And the day I finally did it with rugs by myself in the forest, where I put myself, say this is my brother, this is my older sister, my younger sister, and say this is me. Say I was here, being my sibling's mom. But no, I had to put myself here. Not here. Because I'm not the eldest. My place is here. And my parents are here. And so I gave everyone their spot, and I held hands energetically with them, and I visualized them. I looked back at them and I said, you guys are the big ones. I'm the little one. And I looked forward to the future. I cried so much. I cried and cried and cried and cried. There was so much energy moving. Energy was flowing. And I did it with rocks in the forest. It was very healing. Then I had to just lay in bed for like 3 days in a row. I couldn't move. There was so much memory stored in my body and energetically. I was carrying a very heavy burden that wasn't mine to carry. So I released it. And this is why I did this demo, so that you can get an idea of what you can do. Sometimes we're not even aware of the patterns that we are repeating or the things that we are carrying. Say if there was a divorce in the family. Say you're little. You are here with your siblings and your parents get divorced when you're little. Say dad leaves. Mom stays alone with the children. Energetically, say this older brother tries to take the father's spot energetically. So he becomes mom's partner, mom's husband. What's gonna happen? Later on in life, he's gonna have trouble finding or a partner or committing to a partner or staying in a relationship. Why is that? Because energetically, he's already taken. Energetically, he may be married to mom. Until we liberate this energy and we say, no, your place is here. You are the big one, mom. I'm the little one. You are the big one. I give to you what belongs to you. And he takes his place as a child, as the firstborn son. Mom is a big one. She can take care of herself. And in this moment, he is free energetically to have a partner, for example. But we can do this with employment issues, money issues, health issues, all sorts of issues, all sorts of challenges. You can do constellations with everything. Career. You may be having you may be repeating a pattern of having a career that you don't really want. Say you always wanted to be an ice cream seller, have your own ice cream shop, or be an artist. But everyone in your family was a dentist and they expected you to be a dentist. But you wanted to be something else. Say you wanted to have your own pizzeria. But no, everyone in your family is a cop. Everyone is a police officer. Why will you do differently? You are expected to do the same because everyone in your family has been a cop, has been a police officer. So you're expected to do the same. You want to be a pizza man, but you can't. You have to do the same. What happens? You're trying to belong, but you're not doing your life purpose. It's not what you wanted to do. You can do a constellation for that too. You can liberate the energy. And when you are in your dharma, when you are following your life mission, that's when you create the most prosperity. This is the secret. Very often we say, oh, being an artist or being a writer or a musician doesn't pay well. You need to be a lawyer or you need to be a professor. When in reality, being unhappy in a career or in a job doesn't bring the most prosperity. It doesn't. The most abundance comes from a place of flow. When you are flowing, when you are doing what you love, when you are working with joy, because it doesn't feel like work. That's just an example. But there are so many examples. Say, widows. Widows in your family. The men that went to war and there were many women left alone, widows. what happens generations later? Women struggle to find a man or to get married. All these single women, all your cousins. Why? Because unconsciously they may be repeating a pattern, something that happened with one of their ancestors. This great grandma and all the women in their lineage. So in order to be loyal, we are going to be looking at her unconsciously. Energetically, they want to give her a space. They want to give her a place in the family tree. Same thing, we say healing sessions, we liberate the energy. We say we honor your story. We understand your pain. We see your sadness. We can see how much you have suffered. We do a meditation, we connect. We can light candles for our ancestors to honor their pain, to honor their suffering. There are so many different things that we can do. So you say, for example, candles. I love using candles for bringing light to our ancestors' stories. There is so much sorrow, so much grief in our family's past. Unborn children, or children that were born and died at childbirth. War, famine, immigration, colonization, rape, miscarriage. Even the witches that were burned at the stake, some of you might relate with that. I know I do. So making that conscious, bringing it light, bringing energy, allowing the energy to flow, healing our story. So that in the present moment, we can turn around, we can look forward to our future, we can be in our present, no longer having to be loyal to any of our ancestors. They belong and we honor their stories, but we don't have to repeat them. We can be connected to them through love, not through unconscious patterns, unconscious stories. We get to decide how we want to live our life. And that's the beauty of living in the 21st century. We have so many tools, so many healing modalities, so much freedom, so much access to information. The technology, the internet can bring people closer. You can find therapists online. The thing with energy is that these things can be done virtually. You don't need to be present with the therapist, with the facilitator. It's energy, and we are connected through time and space. The third principle that we are going to talk about is balance. Giving and taking must be even. In relationships, especially between couples or close friends, there must be a balance of giving and receiving. We cannot have someone always giving, and someone always taking, because that creates unbalance. Between parents and children, the balance is parents give and children receive. Parents give and children receive, not the other way around. It's the only relationship where one gives and the other receives. And the child doesn't need to give to the parent. That's the only relationship. But when it comes to friends, when it comes to equal, co-workers, neighbors, friends, siblings, partnerships, friendships. It's about giving and taking, and the energy needs to be balanced. Once again, between parents and children, the flow is one way. Parents give, children receive. Parents give, children receive. And that's a way to keep the balance. It's the way it works in nature. When you look at, I like to see the bird nests. When the mom comes with worms to give to her babies. And the babies are there waiting to eat the worms. The mother is not expecting her babies to repay the favor. Or think about breastfeeding. When a mother is breastfeeding her newborn, she's not thinking, when is this child going to repay me back? When is this child going to return the favor or repay? No, she's giving. And that feeling of joy, that satisfaction is already her payment. Nature is already rewarding her for nurturing that newborn. That's how it works in nature. This is why in family constellations they say, parents give, children receive. The flow is one way. And this is balance. But when it comes to any other relationships, sisters, co-workers, friends, it needs to be balanced. Energetically. We give, we receive. We give, we receive. In order to stay. Otherwise, we are going to have energetic debts. Say, for example, a great-great-great-grandmother who was married to a man who never loved her. Let's say from 6-7 generations ago. This great-great-great-grandmother was married to this man who never loved her. She gave and gave and gave and gave. And received very little. She was always giving, hoping to one day be seen, be respected, be admired, be loved. But it never happened. Generations later, this granddaughter's granddaughter now repeats the pattern. She overgives in relationships, and she gets emotionally starved. Always looking at men. All these men. She gives, and no. Emotionally, she's starved. Why? Because she's repeating that pattern from 6-7 generations earlier. So when we allow the original pain to be seen, the descendant can say, dear great-great-great-grandmother, or whoever the ancestor in question is, I see your sorrow. I honor your fate, but I leave it with you. It's not mine to carry. She's honoring that ancestor. And this untangles the systemic loyalty. So the ancestor liberates her from that chain, that invisible chain that is heavy and that is not for her to carry. This may be you. Ask yourself, what may you be carrying that doesn't belong to you, that may belong to one of these family members. Remember, there are so many people that came before us, and we honor their stories. We don't exclude anyone. We don't judge anyone. We don't judge their decisions. She's already freed from this ancestor. You are here. You can be free to create your own destiny, your own fate. And you become the ancestor that has healed generational trauma. You've removed those dynamics. This is the beauty of this work. You untangle the systemic loyalties so that for your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, it can be different. It's beautiful work. There are so many examples, so many examples. We could never finish exploring everything, but we can do one step at a time. Say there was a grandmother, this grandmother whose brother died, this younger brother died in war 6 generations back. That's one example. The grandmother carried guilt and grief, survivor's guilt. Why? Because she got to survive and this brother died in war at a young age. So her daughter inherited that guilt. That grief, the guilt, the pain, the sadness. And she was emotionally numb. Why? Because she, without knowing, she passed on that grief to her daughter. So say now you, generations later, you're here and you come to session, you come to therapy. You say you feel guilty anytime you are getting happy. Anytime you're successful, you feel guilty. Why are you feeling guilty? You're allowed to be successful. Why can't you have success in life? Well, it turns out that this ancestor who died young hasn't been acknowledged. No one talked about him ever since. It was too painful to talk about. So this ancestor passed down that grief, and so now you here in the present day, you don't understand why you can't be happy, why you can't be successful, why you feel guilty if you're too happy or too successful. So right here is the answer. So what do? We look at this ancestor. We acknowledge him. We tell him, you are one of us. We remember you. Thank you for your sacrifice. And emotions come out, and you may cry, you may scream, you can't control what's gonna come up, but energy gets liberated. You can say to this ancestor, you can look at her and say to her, to your grandma or great grandma, depending on the generation, depending on who you're working with, you can say, I leave your sorrow with you. I honor it and I live for me now. You look at that deceased uncle, great uncle, and you say, I live my life now. I choose to do it differently. Please give me permission. Give me permission to do it differently. then energy gets liberated. And then you get to live a successful life, have a successful career without feeling guilty, because now this ancestor has been acknowledged. He's no longer hidden in the dark, in the shadow, in the darkness. This grief has been honored. You no longer need to carry your ancestors' grief. Why do we use sentences? It's because these sentences are very healing. When we say, I honor you, I leave your sorrow with you. Doesn't matter what we say, there are so many different sentences. Like, you belong, I see you. They are short, they seem simple, yet they are very powerful. Saying to our parents, thank you for giving me life. Even if you never met them. Connecting with them energetically and telling them, thank you for giving me life. Or I take you as my mother, as my father, just as you are. And we stop judging our parents. Sentences like, I see you, you belong to whoever we're working with, that alcoholic ancestor. That excluded ancestor. We tell them, you belong, but I leave your fate with you. So words carry energy. In family constellations, we often use healing sentences to acknowledge what was unseen and to release the entanglements. So everything can come back to order. Remember the candle. Lighting a small candle for each generation is a nice way to honor them and to connect with their energy. I love buying roses when I do work with my feminine lineage, when I do womb healing or things that happen when it comes to miscarriage and different things in my ancestors, I work with my masculine energy, but I do more work with my feminine lineage. And so I like buying 7 roses to honor 7 generations. So 1 rose per generation. You can do the same thing with candles or with whatever you connect with. The idea is intention. Remember, anything is intention. It's connecting to your heart, connecting to your ancestors. And remember, we don't only inherit their pain and their suffering, we also inherit their gifts, their talents, their skills. So once we create order here, and every ancestor takes their place and everyone is seen and everyone is honored and included, we start to create order. In our family tree, and then you can look back and say, wow, look at all these people that came before you. Look at all these people that came before you, generations and generations and generations. Everything that they endured in order for you to be here today. How magical is that? How powerful is that? Think about it for a second. I always like to say, when you are feeling powerless or fearful, connect with your ancestors. Imagine 4,000 people walking behind you. Those people that came before you, you carry their stories, their strength, their power, their love. Not only their tears, not only their hair and eyes and skin color, but also their gifts, their blessings, their dreams. Take a moment to honor them. Light a candle if you feel like it. It's beautiful work. Some say that even our pet could be an ancestor. We were traveling in Peru in South America, and someone said, oh, you have such a close connection with your dog. He may be one of your ancestors. Who knows? But that's another story. I hope this episode helped you feel how real and alive our ancestral stories are. We are never alone. We are held by generations. And when we heal backwards and forwards. You're healing 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. And remember, you can do family constellations on specific themes like money, love, illness, or belonging, deserving. Ask yourself, what is one blockage you have in your life now? What is one thing that you feel is not truly flowing in your life today? And think about doing a constellation to see what comes up. If you resonate with this, your system may be waking up. If emotions came up, how's the system waking up? Feel free to like this video, subscribe, pass this video to anyone who might benefit from this information. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining me and Nuga Cosmico in one more episode of Celestial Do. We will be back with more tools, more ideas to help you connect to your roots and to break cycles, to reconnect with your roots and to regain your power, to explore your inner world so that you can do what you came here to do, to planet Earth, and you can have a fulfilling life. Once again, thank you for joining me and Nuga Cosmico. We are going to get going, and we send you much love. Say bye. Say bye. There you go. Bye.